Hi, I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. Today we're looking at this. This is the Trem Drive Deluxe from Amplified Nation. This Fender Dumble inspired amp is, I think it's the latest amplifier from Amplified Nation, even though it's been out for probably a couple of years now. And it is pretty damn good in my opinion. This is a 6L6 50 watt amp. You can get it in a 20 watt version and it goes up to a 100 watt version. But like I feel about all of Amplified Nation's amplifiers, I think the 50 watt is pretty much the perfect configuration. So what have we got here? Well, this is probably one of Amplified Nation's more simple amplifiers because it hasn't got an effects loop and it's only got one channel. But it's a couple of little tricks that it does that sets it apart from other amplifiers. So let's have a look at the controls on this. Now, we've got two different inputs. We've got a low input and a high input. The high input is connected to the overdrive control. I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute and demonstrate it. Then we've got the level control. Then we've got a bunch of switches, which is quite typical for Amplified Nation and Dumble style amplifiers. We've got a bright switch. We've got a switch that takes us from the rock and the jazz setting, and we've got a switch in the middle which says trem, because this amplifier also has a tremolo circuit. Then we've got volume, treble, middle bass, reverb, which is, as you would expect on all Amplified Nation amplifiers, absolutely fabulous. Then we've got our tremolo controls and our accent. The accent on Amplified Nation amplifiers, like it is on a lot of Dumble style amplifiers, you can think of it more like a presence control, where it adds that very sort of top end sheen to your guitar tone. So let's start off with the low input. Now this is your sort of classic big Fender with a bit more mids, classic sort of Dumble sort of tones. You can think of tones like this. Now the great thing about Dumble style amplifiers, and especially Amplified Nation, is you've got this rock switch and jazz switch. Now if you want to take it down to that sort of more classic sort of Fender tone, you can switch it down to the jazz switch. Now what that does is to bring in a different EQ curve. So you can think of this more like your classic sort of mid-scooped Fender type tone. So less gain and, as I said, more mid-scooped. Now if I engage the rock setting, as that now brings in all the mids, which is your more sort of Dumble type tone. Next we've got our treble, middle and bass controls, as you'd expect on this sort of style amp. Next to that we've got a reverb control. The reverb is a really lush sound of reverb. Now all the reverb and the trem on this amplifier are completely valve driven, so we can get those real vintage tones out of it. Now, me personally, I think I'd leave the reverb around the sort of 12, 1 o'clock sort of mark. I think it sounds awesome. Next, we've got the tremolo circuit. Now, as I said, this is a fully driven valve tremolo circuit. Sounds like this. So that's the amp using its clean tones. Now, if you want to engage the overdrive circuit, what we have to do is to plug into the high input. Now, surprisingly, this amp can actually get quite gainy. That's with the overdrive circuit at 4. Let's turn it up to about 2 o'clock. So you can get a hell of a lot of gain out of this amp. Now, personally, the way that I like to run this is plugged into the low input, and then using overdrive pedals. And I think this pretty much is the ideal pedal platform style amplifier with all the goodies that you get from Amplified Nation. Now, these amplifiers aren't cheap. They're roughly about $3,600, so not for the faint-hearted, but if you're looking for one of those sort of amplifiers that you're going to keep for life and always treasure, I don't think you can do better than Amplified Nation. They do make some absolutely fabulous amplifiers. Now, if you're looking for more versatility from an amp, more channels and effects loop, etc., I can highly recommend their Phoenix Fury or their Ampliphonics and Gain. I reviewed them and I'll leave a link up here somewhere, or maybe after this video, so you can click on that and go straight to those demos. But I think an amplifier like this with a fantastic sounding tremolo, fantastic sounding reverb, and also being able to use pedals in the front end, I think this is pretty much the ideal amplifier. Anyway, I'll leave all the details for Amplified Nation in the notes below, so if you guys want to go and check them out, you can do. I really hope you guys got something out of this video. If you did get something out of it, don't forget to like and subscribe, click on the bell button, and you'll be notified of any future video that comes out from the Studio Rats. I'm Paul, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.